Greetings, interwebs, and ni hao, and why ni. Today, this is going to be a little long and complicated, take a lot of work. And we've already run into an issue. I have a big electric wok. I was going to use that to cook everything in, because I could set it out here on the counter with a towel under it. When you fry, it's inevitably going to splash and make a mess. Rather not get it all in little nooks and crannies in the stove. It's a lot of cleaning. But I've also got a nice big pot with about this much oil in it to fry, so it shouldn't splash out all over the place. We'll burn that bridge when we come to it. So these are all of our ingredients for today. We'll go over them and explain what they are. Okay, so for the wontons, we have ground pork and scallions, minced garlic, cabbage, ginger, and soy sauce. And of course, skins. Pay very careful attention. These skins. These are the ones you want to get. They cook the best, they fry up better than the others. They're just the best ones to use. When you cook them, they're light and crispy and they're not hard. Some of them really kind of stink. These are really, really the best. Okay, imitation crab meat and cream cheese. And then for sauce, we've got, of course, the sweet chili sauce. Man, I'm all tongue-tied today. And duck sauce. Now, of course, not everything here has to come from the Oriental market. You can get something like I got, obviously, these guys from Winn-Dixie. The duck sauce from Winn-Dixie. You can get sweet chili sauce from Winn-Dixie. And I got this from Winn, and of course these. The only thing in this batch that was unusual, the skins. These you got to get from a proper Oriental market. And I did get this from the Oriental market, but you can get this, like I said, at the regular grocery store. And we're frying, so of course, you got to have oil. Now for the noodles, couple of packs of ramen noodles. We got some eggs. Now this is fishball. This you're going to get in the Oriental market as well. It's basically fish that's been pressed into little spongy balls. They're really good, really tasty. And then this is yu choy. Yu choy. It's not bok choy. Bok choy is like a cabbage. Yu choy is like if collard greens tasted like spinach. That'd be yu choy. And this, yeah, you got to get this in the Oriental market. It's sweet soy sauce. It's really good stuff. And of course, crispy onions. You can also get roasted onions. And that is what we're working with today. So, buckle in. This is going to take a while. Okay, so let's get started. Get our pork. This is nice, fresh ground pork. Like I said, I got it in Winn-Dixie. No fuss, no muss. Now for ingredients, the cabbage. Some say yay, some say nay. Can't hurt throwing a little bit of cabbage in. We're going to drop in, let's say, about a tablespoon of garlic. And you really kind of want to go easy on the ginger. It has a lot of flavor. So I'm going to say about a tablespoon of ginger as well. I really should have opened this before I started. It's also sealed on the inside. Definitely should have done that. The health benefits of fresh ginger, oh my goodness. Wow, that's strong. But it's so good for you. And put in about a tablespoon of ginger. About a teaspoon soy sauce. And that's our middle. Now, the scallions and the cabbage. You're going to cut that up very, very small. And we're not using very much because we're not making a whole lot. Okay, so we'll cut off very thin slices of cabbage and then chop it into very, very tiny pieces. Just as tiny as I can, because, you know, wontons themselves are tiny. You don't want a big, huge chunk of cabbage. We're also going to cut up the scallions. I'll speed all this up for you because you don't want to watch me cut. Okay, so I only use the green part of the scallions, not the white onion part. I left those behind. So now I'll just kind of chop the meat up. Kind of get all nice and mixed together. Now, you can also put some sesame oil in this. A lot of people do. This is just back to a matter of personal taste. I'm not really a fan of sesame oil. To me, the flavor gets to be a little overpowering, even if it's just a little bit. But that's me personally. Most people like the sesame oil. And again, the cabbage is also optional. Not everybody uses cabbage in it. They'll use cabbage more like in egg rolls because they're larger and the cabbages help for a nice filler. The wontons, again, are smaller, and so you don't necessarily want a large piece of green up in it. And okay, that's mixed. Just set this aside for the moment. Come back to it in a little while. Next, we're going to start getting ready for the Crabmeat Rangoons. We need a container. Okay, I'm going to keep what's left of these scallions. Probably have them with breakfast tomorrow. Set them aside. Put away the rest of the cabbage. Man. Oh, okay, remember what I said before about clean as you go? It'll make it a whole lot easier later. Cream cheese. Wow. You really did a good job sealing this. Woo, there we go. That's good cream cheese. That's good cream cheese. You know, people complain about Chinese food in America being, you know, Americanized, not authentic and all that. And yeah, that's true. And I am in no way claiming to be making authentic Chinese food. And I actually had that reversed on me. When I was in Thailand, the place I was staying was Koh Samui, Samui Island, Koh means island. It's not a very big, it's down south, kind of rural. And then we went on a small boat out to a small island that has just little bungalows on the beach and nothing else. I mean, it's Gilligan's Island. The only way to get there is to hire one of the local fishermen to actually take you, because there's no ferry service going to that little island, but it's got a real nice resort on it. But like this, the resort is just bungalows. Well, there's one restaurant. And so I went in, and quite frankly, I was getting a little tired of Thai food. Thai food's okay, but I don't like it nearly as much as Chinese food. Well, when I got there, I was happy they had American food on the menu. And they had like a burger. Like, oh, cool, a burger, yay. Well, and we talk about Americanized Chinese food. This was, I guess, Asianized American food. This burger, I don't know what the seasonings were in it they used, but they're really weird. And it had like cabbage and bean sprouts and all kind of just odd things in it. There's no ketchup and mustard or some kind of red sauce that I guess was their idea of ketchup. It really wasn't. And white stuff, what mayonnaise. And it had little tomatoes, these little tiny little tomatoes about that big sliced up in. They were really, really sweet. So yeah, that was me getting kind of the reverse plate on me. Okay, we got our imitation crab meat. I got this at the Oriental Market. You can get this pretty much anywhere. Winn-Dixie or Publix or whomever, they all sell it. Cut up into little tiny pieces. You're just going to mix it in with our cream cheese. That's really, really simple. So far, this is the easy parts. The hard parts, well, really, it's not hard. It's just rolling them all up gets tedious. Really, really, really tedious. So I'm not making a large batch. It's just one block of cream cheese and a bunch of these guys. I can mix it all up. It's not easy because you usually let the cream cheese kind of warm up a little so it softens. I just pulled this out of the fridge, so it's still very, very stiff and thick. Makes it hard to mix. We'll definitely do the noodle thing last, because the noodle thing is really quick. I don't really know what to call it. It's just a noodle thing Max used to make. I don't think there's even a real name for it. It's just a thing. I'm sure there probably is somewhere a name for it, but if you know what it might be called, please feel free to comment below. Okay, that's all mixed. Now, the fun part, the skins. Oh yeah, this is gonna take a while, so stand by. These come frozen when you buy them. They're in the freezer. You let them sit in the fridge overnight. You want them to thaw out, but you don't want them to, get too unthawed. Just enough to work with. Okay, you see, I'll open some more. Here, let me pull this up to the camera so you can take a look at it. They're very, very thin. You can see right through. They're also, you can see kind of, I don't know if you can see the white powder on them. They're really quite dry. The whole point of that is so they don't stick together. So when you want to fold them up, you just put a little water around the edges and they'll stick together on the edges, and that's how you fold them. But for the egg rolls, not the egg rolls, I'm sorry, for the wontons, we're going to do something a little different. Set up a plate. All you do is you get a little dollop of your fixins, put it in the middle, and just pull all the corners together. Pull all the corners together like a little flower. And if you want, You can wet the top a little to help it hold together, which I think I will do because I don't want them to fall apart on me. Just get a little bowl of water. Whoops. Holes are over here. You know what? Since we're making Chinese food, I think I will use my Hello Kitty bowl. When I was in Taiwan, there was a Hello Kitty store literally on every street corner. Whoa, my thing came off. Every corner you went to in every town, there were Hello Kitty stores just everywhere. The girl I was with over there, she had a Hello Kitty Visa card from the Hello Kitty Bank. Yeah, that was really a thing. There. I guess it's as popular as Mickey Mouse is down in Orlando. Okay, so you just wet your finger, kind of wet around the edges a little. Just along the edges. Put a little more stuff in the middle. Just a little spoonful. You don't want to do too much. And then you just, if you want to make proper, you put corner to corner, and then corner to corner, and squeeze, and now it looks more like the kind you get in a restaurant. You make it however you like. Let me make one of the crab meat ones just to show you. And it's basically the same thing. Wet it a little, put some in. Whoops. Put a little dollop in the middle. Corner to corner. And you're just folding it over, and then we're going to fry it. Okay, so like I said, this is incredibly long and tedious, and I'm not even going to bother fast forwarding. I'm just going to pause the whole thing while I do this because it's going to take quite a while. And stand by, I'll be right back. Okay, so I've been putting things away. I use about half the pack of skins and not quite half the pack of the imitation crab meat. The thing with the imitation crab meat though is you can just eat it right out of the package. It's, you know, it's done. It's not raw fish. Yeah. It tastes so good. Okay, so this is how many wontons I rolled up. Like I said, about half the bowl. And that's about how many crab meat rangoon I rolled up. I could roll more, but I'd be here all night. And I eventually need to, you know, edit the scene together and go to bed before too late because I've got to work tomorrow. Okay, we'll move on to, man, it's so good, but it's kind of stringy, so it takes a while. Move on to the frying. I'll get the camera set up over here. Stand by. Okay, you see? Got the big pot. If you have like a desktop or countertop portable deep fryer, which I've got one, then you can use that. Like I said, I was going to use my electric wok, but I can't find the power cord. You can use a regular pot. That works well too, but like I said, it's going to splash everywhere, make a mess. The oil, as you can see, is only down in the bottom of the pot, so it's not going to be splashing up and over. It'll make for an easier cleanup, and it'll still come out about the same. So let me get this set up over here to cook, or to film while I cook, and we'll get going. We'll start with the crab meat rangoon and see how they do. Because really, these don't have to cook so much because all you're doing is just crisping the skin. The wontons you really do need to cook because that's raw pork. The trick with these skins also is make sure they're really, really good and hot. If they're not hot enough, the skins get kind of, well, they're hard. They're not crispy. When you cook them nice and hot, these really thin skins, they get light and crispy and taste oh so good. That was just almost exactly the right amount to fill the pot. See, look at that. It's all, like I said, almost exactly the right amount to fill that pot. Okay, I'm gonna turn them a little bit. Here's a top tip. When you're gonna be cooking this stuff, get some really long tongs, because you really don't want to go sticking your hand down near that boiling oil, because it will inevitably splash on you. And cooking these, basically, you let them go until they're golden brown. And there's not a trick to that. Now, here is a top tip I learned from a Filipino friend of mine, Vivian Woodward, here in Jacksonville. She has a catering business, and she's an amazing cook. Well, because of catering, she makes vast quantities of fried food, mostly lumpia. So when you're going to set it out, it's going to be soggy and oily, and you don't want that. But also, just setting it on a paper towel, that's not going to cut it either. So what she does, and this is a brilliant idea, when she lays the trays out, she puts slices of bread in the bottom of the trays, and then lays all that oily fried food on top. The oil soaks into the bread, and so the food's crispy and not oily. And then when she's done, you throw the bread away. You got what, $2 or $3 in a loaf of bread for that whole, catering event. Nice top tip. Whoop. Oh, yeah, these are looking great. You see that? Here, catch that oil. You see how it's kind of getting crispy brown on the edges and it's still a little tan in the middle? That is almost perfect. Yep, the rest of them are browning up nicely. Oh yeah. Where did I put my own? Another handy thing, instead of scooping out one at a time, if I have this, it doesn't, never mind. Good plan, bad execution. I'll just take them out one at a time. They're trying to run away from me. Not only do we know these are done just right, but now we know the oil is hot enough to get started on the pork wontons. I'm setting the plate right up against the pot, so when I pick them up, that oil doesn't just sling all over the stove and countertop. It all catches right on the paper towel. And if I'm not careful, we'll catch fire. Okay, I just turned the flame down on the stove here, because it's nice and hot, but I don't want to get too hot. Because this, oil can burn, and you don't want that. See, these are almost getting a little too done. So I turned it down. And there we have a plate of crab meat Rangoon. Delicious, and wait till you get it with the sauce. Next up, the wontons. Now, these are one we really got to pay attention to, because that pork's got to be cooked all the way through and through. Like I said before, there's nothing like some medium rare pork to really ruin your day. Paper towels. Because I have all this left over, I will probably make more this weekend. There's not really a timer to this. You basically just look at it, and when it looks done, it's done. I mean, like I said, look at this. You see how it's kind of brown on the edges and nice and tan in the middle? You can also see it's nice and crispy. But it's a light crispy. It looks like a Dorito. It's not hard. Yeah, look, it has the consistency of Doritos. Yeah, nice shiny Doritos. Although I turn the flame back up on high, once these got going, you heat the oil back up. I'm thinking they're about done. I'm going to just shut them off. They're looking about done. See what I mean? How they look like a different color than the others? Even though they're the exact same skins, for some reason the wontons always cook differently than those. I don't know, maybe something with the cheese inside. I don't know. So look at that. Nice and fried. You can fold them in different shapes if you like. I'm just slapping them together because it's just for me. I'm not trying to impress people. I'm more concerned with how they taste and how they look. This is that first one I did. The one where I just kind of made a little, like a little dewdrop looking deal. You see the shape of it, how it turned out. Come on, guys. Okay, those are all done. You see the difference between the two. These are pork and vegetables. These are cream cheese and imitation crab meat. Exact same skins, cooked in the exact same oil, but look how different they look. Don't know why, they just are. So just to make things a little easier on myself, I moved the pot to the front burner from back there. To make for easier cooking and, well, easier filming, quite frankly. Once this gets going, we'll dump in fish balls and a couple of eggs. I mean, just break the eggs right into it and let them cook. And we'll go from there. To prepare our noodles, open up 2 packs of ramen. They will be done very last. Take one of the flavor packs and dump in the bowl. Put in some sweet soy sauce. You'll see it's really thick, like a syrup. I guess that's about a tablespoon. Never actually measured it before. And now most people will put in sesame oil. But again, like I said, I've just never really liked the taste of sesame oil, so I'll put a little bit of olive oil. Just a bit, like a teaspoon. You don't want too much. Open up our second pack of ramen. And you know that junk drawer that has all the ketchup packs and everything else? That's where your second one goes. In that drawer. Now, we just wait for the water to boil. While I'm waiting on that, I need to put this away. Put it in a nice container, stick it in the fridge. I will most likely cook all the rest of this weekend. I don't really have any plans that I know of, so we had a work day at the church and apparently got canceled and rescheduled, so That was my weekend. While waiting for the water to boil, I cut the fish balls in half and cut the stems off of the yu choy. So the green leafy part, that's what I'm putting in, and of course, half fish balls instead of whole fish balls. And much like the imitation crab meat, they're ready. You can eat them right out of the package. They're delicious. Okay, our water's boiling. The first thing we're going to do, 2 eggs. Just break them into boiling water. Let them cook. Break them kind of slow. Yeah, there you go. Trying to avoid making a big splash. Like that. Yeah. Let those sit and cook. Now we'll drop in the fish ball. Ow, that was hot. I should have been more careful. Basically, we're just cooking the egg. Once the egg is done, then we'll drop in the greens. And lastly, we'll drop in the ramen noodles. Now, the ramen, you only want long enough to where it's not hard. You don't want to leave it there because then it starts getting mushy and you don't want that. Just really quick. I use my favorite stirring spoon. So go to the backup. These fish balls, you know, they're not that big. The reason I cut them in half, they swell. When you cook them, they get really big. They're not about this big around, but they'll get about that big around. And that's just really kind of too big to eat. You cut them in half. Just let that cook, and then once that's done, like I said, we'll move on to the next step. Yeah, so that egg is boiling up nicely. So, the greens, put them in, let them cook. Okay, the water is boiling up again. Now we'll drop in our ramen noodles. And I don't know why I keep saying we and our. Just watch too many cooking shows. Make sure they're good and submerged. Yeah, those will run maybe 2 minutes. And then we'll dump it all in the strainer. Okay, the ramen is now soft and broken up. Whoop. I'm going to shut it off and drain it. Like I said before, turn some cold water. I'm just going to pour boiling water straight down the drain. I'm going to get for the plastic pipes. Now then, we'll dump it in the glass bowl with mixture in the bottom. The water out. There we go. Take it and mix all the stuff in. There we go, look at that. All the flavors from the little chicken flavoring pack from the ramen and the sweet soy sauce. And in this case, olive oil. You really mix it around, get it into the noodles. Get all that mixed up together. Get egg. Egg's still nice and yolky in the middle. Could have cooked it a little bit longer, but you know, nice soft runny yolk. It gets all into everything, and it'll still cook while it's in here. So this is still really, really hot. Now, pour some onions in it. These toasted onions. Used to use these red roasted onions, but I like these a little better. These are like the ones you put on top of the green bean casserole at Thanksgiving. These you just kind of put on top. You don't mix them in. And that is the dish. Now we just plate it up, and as they say in China, bon appetit. And there you have it, a very delicious meal. Chinese cooking, it's a little more complicated than what I usually make, but it's every way doable. And oh, so delicious. I mean, come on, if I can do it, anybody can do it, right? And so there we are, a very delicious Chinese meal. Crabmeat Rangoon, fried wontons, and this noodle mix of, I don't know what it's called, but it's so good. If you like what I'm doing, and you'd like me to continue doing these outlandish type of meals, let me know. Put a comment below, please. And if you would, think about subscribing. And definitely, if you like the video, hit the like button, give me a thumbs up. That really helps the channel and helps me out. And on that happy, very delicious note, be seeing you. I like to talk a lot about how great Winn-Dixie is, but sometimes Winn-Dixie just don't have everything you need. You gotta go to a specialty place.